Alright, so we're talking again about Alex Pietrangelo and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this time we're going into a little bit of a bigger discussion here that has been brought up on guys on the radio, guys like Pierre LeBrun, guys writing articles in The Athletic, etc., because we actually have ourselves a lot more fuel to the fire to this whole Pietrangelo-Toronto thing, and all of a sudden the Vegas Golden Knights are in there too. So if you have been following the channel, you would know that we did indeed make a few videos about Alex Pietrangelo in the past few weeks. Not only have we talked about the St. Louis Blues getting eliminated by the Vancouver Canucks, yes baby, I still will throw that in there every chance I get. But not only have we been talking about the playoffs for the St. Louis Blues, but we've been talking about other things regarding St. Louis as well. Pietrangelo, free agency, Toronto, Colton Parayko, trades, Jaden Schwartz, freeing up cap space to get a Petrangelo contract back in there, Jake Allen trades as well. Not to mention the big one, the actual Jake Allen trade that went down, where he got sent over to Montreal. But ultimately, we have indeed been talking about the Blues and Petrangelo on this channel. But today we're taking a look at a few different things, mostly from Pierre LeBrun, I'll say that here. We have ourselves an article that was published a few days ago. It's by Pierre LeBrun on The Athletic. The title is this: Family Matters to Free Agents, from Alex Pietrangelo to Ryan Miller. As always, link in the description to this article. If you have The Athletic, you can read it. We're not going to screenshot anything from this article over here. Instead, we're going over onto ProHockeyRumors.com, because what they did is they summarize some of the big important parts of this article, and it gives a brief synopsis as to the entire situation that Pietrangelo is exhibiting right now. But if you're out of the loop, Alex Pietrangelo is quite literally the St. Louis Blues captain, a guy who can get upwards of 50 to 60 points in a season. He's a big, solid, right-handed defenseman who knows how to defend, who knows how to get points, and who knows how to be a leader. He's been on this team for a while, so as a guy who's coming off of a $6.5 million deal and who does need a contract extension, there have been many conversations had by people in the media saying that Petrangelo could legitimately get upwards of $9 million on his next contract. This is a problem for the Blues because the Blues, they don't really have all too much cap space, which is why they made the Jake Allen trade in general, to get rid of $4-something million in salary. Now, they still only have $5 million in cap space at the time of recording this video, so we'll see if there are other moves to be made, but the contract negotiations with Alex Pietrangelo, according to what was said on this Pierre LeBrun article, have been a little disappointing. Speaking to Pierre LeBrun on The Athletic, Petrangelo called it a little disappointing that nothing had been done to this point in terms of contract negotiations. He explained there hasn't been much in terms of progress on a new contract. While neither side has ruled anything out, Pierre LeBrun even suggests that the Blues will be making another offer soon. The star defenseman has already discussed next steps with his wife should he end up on the open market in a few weeks. So that in itself is the first little bit of an update that we have had on this situation thus far. The Blues currently have $5 million in cap space, Petrangelo could demand upwards of $8 or $9 million, and he is disappointed with how things are going thus far. So, if you're the St. Louis Blues, you hear this and you go, oh no, our captain, the guy that we want to keep, the guy that we traded Allen to help try to keep, is now talking about how we haven't been doing anything and how he's disappointed in us. Okay, that sucks. But leave it to Pierre LeBrun to go forward on the radio and start talking about what else there could be on this situation. We have LeBrun quotes, we have Darren Dreger quotes as well. Let's actually start off with the Darren Dreger quote. This was on TSN Leafs Lunch talking about Alex Pietrangelo. I think that going into the open market, Toronto would be very high on Petrangelo's list. I think the Vegas Golden Knights would be high on his list, and that list would be relatively short. If they got to invest upwards of $9 million to keep Petrangelo in St. Louis, then either way it's coming at the expense of another player or players So it's a delicate one for sure. And this comment kind of got everybody in both Leafs Nation and in Vegas Nation kind of flipping out, because now it's like, okay, the Leafs don't have cap space either. That's going to be awesome. Awesome to see them having to force out a trade for an Andreas Janssen or a Kerfoot or somebody to get in a Petrangelo, because he may indeed have the Leafs high on his own personal list. And speculation included the Vegas Golden Knights also in there as well, so okay, there's another whole conversation to be had there too. But further along with Pierre LeBrun, here's another quote on TSN 1050. Pierre LeBrun says, "The only weakness in an otherwise stacked lineup for Vegas is on the right side of their D. If they can somehow get Petrangelo, it would be a great move for them." And this is indeed something that was brought up several times throughout the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Brian Burke had a whole segment on Hockey Night in Canada talking about how the entire right side of the Vegas Golden Knights D-Corps consisted of left-handed guys, which is why it was so easy for other teams to exploit that, or at least in theory exploit that. We weren't really seeing too many teams actually doing that, but Burke was making the argument that, yeah, look, these guys are all left-handed on the right side. In order for them to keep the puck in, they need to rotate their bodies, and they need to actually, put the backhand out there. And that's more easy to exploit when you recognize the pattern. So if they indeed are able to get a right-handed D to the caliber of an Alex Pietrangelo, then hey, maybe that would allow them to hopefully make the next step in pushing for another finals performance. But of course, we all know that's not going to happen if they can't score any goals. The reply here on NHL Watcher's tweet says, "With what cap space will the Vegas Golden Knights be able to go after Petrangelo?" And the reply here says, well, they talked about that, mentioning how Vegas has a tendency to get things down, even if you don't think it's possible. And yeah, honestly, that's something that we have experienced before too. Sometimes when you notice that all the odds seem stacked against the Vegas Golden Knights, they almost always find a way to get themselves out looking better than they did before, in terms of the cap management and asset acquisition point of view. Not talking about the games here, man. We can go off about how Vegas loses games properly, but indeed, we have seen Vegas with their extraordinary track record of getting good players in their lineups. So if Petrangelo is another one of those guys, then man, I really would not like to see that. I'm a Canucks fan, so a lot of you out there know that I would not want to have Petrangelo in the Pacific unless he is on my team, and goodness gracious, the Canucks are not going to be the team to sign Petrangelo. So, personally, if he does indeed go to free agency, I'm personally pulling for the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially if his limited and relatively short list would only include teams like Toronto and Vegas. It's just kind of whack to me, dude, that it's Toronto again coming up in these discussions. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about this whole idea of Alex Pietrangelo potentially being unhappy with the way the St. Louis Blues are handling these contract negotiations. And talk to me as well about the Leafs and the Golden Knights, because I know for sure there are many people out there who are thinking, okay, the Leafs can just go ahead and start getting all the big free agents again like they did Tavares, right? Maybe then they'll get out of the first round. So I don't really know exactly what I think is going to happen, because if you ask me, well, the Blues are probably going to go out there, make a few more trades, at least try to keep this kind of guy in their lineup, because he's quite literally their captain. I don't think they would want him to leave anytime soon, even though he is a free agent. But whatever happens will indeed happen, and of course we have no control over that. So whether it is, I don't know, a Jaden Schwartz or a Colton Parayko, or dare I even say a Vladimir Tarasenko, who is on his way out in Missouri, we will see what happens with the Alex Pietrangelo contract negotiations. But of course, I want to hear what you think in the comments section below. As always, those links will be down there in the description for both the Athletic article as well as the Pro Hockey Rumours article that we read off of here in this video. So if you have the Athletic, check out the first one. If you don't, you can check out the second one. The second article does indeed go over a few other things related to the Blues, Justin Falk, Braden Shen, the money that they have. So it's a very interesting read entirely as well. But yeah, Petrangelo, man. Vegas, St. Louis, Toronto, a limited or short list of teams that he would want to go to that would include Vegas and Toronto. That would be incredible. Talk to me in the comments what you think about this whole idea. I hope you enjoyed this video over here. Social Show 99, and bye.